stranger, let's break this thing open. And distance is danger, so I'll pull you close and
see no monster, we all come here broken, but love can't unbreak us if it goes unspoken.
See no stranger, not saying I'm a savior, but I'm here to show you that open is braver.
see no monster, cause monsters are fiction. Real people are messy, and so is forgiveness.
Each act of forgiveness is such tricky business. Let me hear your story, and I'll be your witness.
Let me be your sister, let me be your brother. Let me see you now
with the eyes of a mother. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La la la.
See no monster, just more learned behavior. Under his thick skin is something so tender. See no stranger, no typecast, no token.
See all people as people in motion.
There are no monsters, there are no strangers. There's just a shedding of armor.
Each act of forgiveness is such tricky business. Let me hear your story, and I'll be your witness.
Let me be your sister, let me be your brother. Let me see you now with the eyes of a mother.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La la la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Welcome, beloveds. Welcome to our healing circle for Minneapolis. My name is Valarie Kaur, and I lead the Revolutionary Love Project, a national movement to reclaim love as a force for justice in this country. We are so glad you are here. We see you coming in from all over the country, and we see our beloveds in Minneapolis. Thank you so much for gathering here tonight. I've just returned from your city. I've just returned from Minneapolis, where I was on the ground with faith leaders and community members to learn and bear witness. What I saw was love in action in the face of unspeakable cruelty. We were there just a few miles away from where Alex Preddy was murdered. And when I came back and told my team what I witnessed in Minneapolis, they said, we have to gather. And so within 36 hours, we put out the call, and here you are. You are all here, and we are so glad. In this hour together, I'll be sharing with you what I saw and what I learned, what I believe we are called to do now. We'll be hearing from faith leaders and community members on the ground. We'll leave you with very clear calls to action. But first, we're going to breathe together. You ready? I invite you to place your feet on the earth and close your eyes just for a moment and take a deep breath into your body. Let it come. And let it go. If there is one word that captures what you are feeling in your body, what would it be? You can open your eyes for just a moment and put that word in the chat so we know what we are arriving with. We are arriving heavy, with sorrow, tension, exhaustion, grief, pain, stress, tenderness, fierceness, rage, heartache, heartbreak, love, wonder, confusion, sorrow, prayer, anger, tired, grief, love, 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 and light, love and light. And that call to love is what brought you here tonight. I believe that we are called in this moment to be braver with our love and braver with our lives than we have ever been before, each of us. And the only way to do that, the only way to summon that kind of courage is to alchemize the pain that you're feeling in your body into meaning, into language, and into action. And that alchemy requires us not to go numb. That alchemy requires us to let ourselves feel more of our hearts than we might have allowed ourselves to feel. And so in this moment, I want you to trust that you are safe, that you are held in community, and trust your body to let you feel a little bit more that might give you information for what you are ready to do next. So now you can close your eyes once more. And now take another deep breath in, let it come, and let it go. Where in your body are you most feeling grief? Check your jaw, your throat, your heart, your belly. Place your hand on where you most feel it, like you're touching a beloved child. And get curious about this grief inside of you. What is the quality of it? How heavy is it? Where do you most feel that pressure? Breathe. As you let yourself feel this grief, know this, beloved. The pain of your grief is not a sign of your weakness. It is a sign of your deep capacity to care. It is your conscience. It is your strength. We cannot bear this grief as one body, but we can bear it collectively, together. So imagine that we are like trees in the forest. We look as though we are standing apart, but we are connected in the earth, through the roots. Imagine those roots connecting you to everyone on this call. Take a deep breath in and send that energy and that breath to that grief inside of you. Let it come. And let it go. Your grief is welcome here. Where in your body are you feeling rage? Notice. Put your hand there. Your rage is loaded with information and energy. Your rage connects you with your sense of agency, your ability to fight. When you allow yourself to feel your rage and to harness that energy, then rage becomes a powerful force to protect that which we love. Get curious about your rage, the force of it in you. I invite you to draw breath up through those roots and send breath into that place in you. Let it come and let it go. Your rage is welcome here. I invite you now to ask, where in your body are you longing for love? Place a hand there, as if you are touching your most beloved. This world will make you feel naive or unserious about power for believing in love as a force, but Minnesota has shown us that love is a force, and that force resides inside of you. And we can ignite it and nourish it and fortify it when we gather like this. And so get curious about that space in you. Breathe into that space in you. Let it come. Let it go. This place in you will be the wellspring for your bravery. Rest your hands for a moment and let yourself feel the earth beneath your feet. And imagine the ancestors who walked this earth before you, Black, brown, indigenous ancestors. Think of the Dakota peoples of Minnesota who survived apocalypse and still lift their gaze to sing songs of love. Let us honor the indigenous ancestors there and on the soil you were on, and say their names, the Tongva peoples. And now I invite you to think of one ancestor who represents courage to you. It could be someone from your family or a figure from history, or someone who's been recently taken from us. Imagine them behind you, proud that you are here. And notice that strength at your back. And notice what that courage feels like in your body. Keep them there. And now imagine a child in your life who brings you joy. Picture them in front of you, smiling at you. Notice what that innocence and that joy feels like in your body. Place your hand on your heart. You are the link between ancestors and descendants, between past and future. May you receive the medicine you need tonight to be brave with your life. Let it come. Let it go. Open your eyes. Our wisest ancestors across time and place knew that song and music was a portal for us to be able to open the doors of our hearts and feel more and be more than we thought we could be. And that is why I'm so grateful that I have my sister, Connie Lim, who the world knows as MILCK, to be able to keep this space open with her song. As you listen, open those doors of your heart and see if those ancestors at your back have some information you need to hear. And as you hear it, you can share it in the chat, or you can just listen and let the music do its work on you. Connie, beloved.
Thank you so much, Valarie. I wrote this song after Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, and so this song comes from so many centuries of what we've been facing and overcoming. So as I sing this, I pray for more courage from all of us to face our stories with no shame but courage. Thank you for having me. There was somebody's child, somebody's friend, someone who built their dreams with every breath, whom others could depend. More than a number, more than a story, more than a memory. Somebody's friend, somebody's child, somebody's beloved. Blood on leaves falling like autumn. This story's been told 1,000 times. Why doesn't everybody scream for anyone listening? Say their name. say their name. They were somebody's first call, somebody's home, someone who lived with tears and laughter, who wanted to belong. More than a number, more than a story, more than a memory. Somebody's home, somebody's first call, somebody's beloved. Blood on leaves falling like autumn. This story's been told 1,000 times. Why doesn't everybody scream for anyone listening? Say their name, say their name. More than just a number. Say their name. Oh, more than just a story. Say their name. Oh, more than a memory. Say their name. 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 Thank you.
Thank you, Connie. Now, beloveds, this virtual space has become a sacred space. I invite you to keep the feeling of your feet on the earth, ancestors at back, and the children of the future before your eyes, and the sense of the community that has gathered in this moment in real time to connect, to strengthen, and to fortify. What I wish to do now is share with you my testimony of what I experienced in Minneapolis. There are 3 things that I need you to know. Number 1, Minnesota is the new ground zero for the level of brutality this administration is willing to inflict on immigrants, on people of color, and on the neighbors who stand up to protect them. Number 2, in response, everyday Minnesotans have created networks of care, block by block, heart to heart, on a scale that is unprecedented. It is nothing that I have seen in my lifetime. And that brings me to number 3. What I most heard from Minnesotans on the ground was, yes, support us, stand with us. But what we really want you to know is this. What is happening in Minneapolis will come to your city if it hasn't already. What we are doing here is giving you a blueprint of what love and action looks like. And this blueprint is able to be replicated. And so they've shown the way. Those 3 points I want to move us through. We're going to start with the first. The brutality. I was invited to Minneapolis by a coalition of faith leaders called MARCH. That stands for Multi-Faith Anti-Racist Change and Healing. And these faith leaders are people who I've known for some time, some as long as 20 years. But many of them, our bonds grew strong through the Revolutionary Love Tour. We went to Minneapolis twice in our tour across the country. We gathered with folks at George Floyd Memorial Square, in churches and universities, and it was those same leaders, those same organizers that I saw when we gathered together again, this time in the crucible of crisis. They kept saying that they were so happy that we were there. I was there with my teammate, Emma. They were so happy. They kept thanking us for being there, and we said, no, you all are the ones who are putting love into action. You are all the ones who are leading the way. What do we need to know? And then they began to show us what was happening on the ground in Minneapolis. And let me just say this. I thought I was seasoned. I thought that I was prepared for what I was about to see. This government sent ICE agents to Los Angeles first last summer. We were the first testing ground. And so I knew what it was like to see our neighbors disappear. They're still disappearing. I knew what it was like to witness families ripped apart and children terrorized. I knew what it was like for our protest to be met with astonishing military force. I saw my fellow protesters beaten, maimed, trampled by cavalry, and we as faith leaders put our bodies between protesters and people with machine guns, with flowers in our arms, raising our voice in song. I thought I knew the brutality that we were about to see in Minneapolis. We had tracked how the administration moved from Los Angeles to Portland and Chicago, and now Minneapolis was the next place. And each time I saw that they were escalating in their cruelty and their efficiency and the lawlessness, but nothing prepared me for what I saw in Minnesota. The scale and the pervasiveness of the brutality was unlike anything I had imagined. Minneapolis is an occupied city. They kept telling us it's an occupied city, but what does that mean? It means that wherever you are going, you are moving in a field where you are proximate to brutality and terror at any moment. Everyone I talked to, the drivers, the storekeepers, the passersby, the people of faith, they had a story about brutality that they had just witnessed or experienced. Everyone knew someone who was abducted or missing. ICE is snatching people from bus stops, workplaces, hospital beds, dragging them out of their homes into the cold and snow, disappearing immigrants, legal residents, U.S. citizens, indigenous people. This was never about immigration enforcement. It is a campaign of racial terror on a scale we have not seen, and they were counting on all the white folks watching to do nothing. What I kept hearing over and over again from Minnesotans was that they chose the wrong city. They chose the wrong state. For people began to pay attention. They told me, we don't know where our people have gone. We don't know how many have been taken. Within 3 hours, many are flown away. A driver from Kenya named Mohammed told me, we bonded over the cold weather, how I didn't have the right coat when I got there. He didn't have the right coat when he came from Kenya. And then he told me that now Minnesota is home. Minneapolis is home. And he's had 3 of his friends taken. All of them were here legally. They were driving to work. And now he drives with documents, with his passport, even though he is a U.S. citizen. I met another young man from Ethiopia, Mavud. He describes how he made eye contact with an ICE agent in a vehicle at an intersection, and that 1 second lasted forever. He didn't know if he was going to be abducted, disappeared, beaten in that moment while he was arrested. He didn't know, but that ICE agent was acting alone, and that ICE agent was making a calculation and decided to let Mavud drive away. And in that one moment, he experienced a lifetime of terror and the relief of escape. While we were there, while we were on the ground, ICE used 5-year-old Liam, the little boy with the blue hat, as bait to lure the rest of his family out. And then when it didn't work, shipped him to a detention center in Texas with his father. We still don't know where he is. These ICE agents are getting paid 3 times more to take children away from their parents than to teach them how to read. At the peak of the ICE surge in Chicago, there were 600 agents in the city. Minneapolis is a much smaller city. There are more ICE agents in the streets than the police force of the Twin Cities combined. 3,000 federal agents in those streets. And that's what gives the feeling, the reality of an occupied city. We as faith leaders asked, because when March invited me, they put out a call to all clergy across the country, and they expected maybe 200 clergy would arrive, but almost 1,000 faith leaders showed up. And they were so grateful that we were all there. And so they said, okay, Friday is a day of action. We'll have 2 days of trainings and convenings. And then the faith leaders are saying, what do we do? How do we support you? And so on Friday was our big day of action, where we marched with 50,000 people in the street in the bitter cold. This is minus 24-degree weather, something that this California woman has very little idea about how to manage. And it was Minnesotans who gave me the coats and the hand warmers and the gloves. And with icicles on our eyelashes, we marched through those streets singing and chanting songs of revolutionary love. That same day on Friday was a general strike that was called. We saw businesses and stores all across the city closing in a united front in an economic boycott. On that same day, 100 of us, 100 faith leaders, went to the airport in Minneapolis to get arrested in an act of civil disobedience to protest deportation flights. And another 200 faith leaders were dispatched throughout the city to document ICE sightings. I was thinking about my babies at home, and I was like, okay, I'm here, but I gotta make sure I make my flight home. So where can I go that gives me a little bit of safety? I thought. Turns out there's no safety in an occupied city. I thought that the safest thing for me to do was to go with the bus of faith leaders to a pilgrimage site. So I went Friday to George Floyd Memorial Square, and I was there with Angela Harrelson, George Floyd's auntie, who I was with during the Revolutionary Love Tour. And from the first time I was at that square, I marveled at how this community had transformed this site of atrocity where George said his last words, "I can't breathe." They had transformed it into a place of love. There are flowers and memorials. It's a place of so much beauty and so much community and so much energy. And so I was there with Angela once again, this time with the snow very high all around us. And I asked her, Angela, what does it mean for you, for less than a mile from where your nephew was killed, to see that Renee Good was murdered? And she said, well, it was a white woman this time. And I said, yes. And she said, it's about humanity now. It was always about humanity. But now anyone standing on the side of humanity must act now. And in that moment, talking to Angela, I remembered that Renee Good's murder, Alex Preddy's murder, is an extension of the violence that people of color have long survived on this soil. You label a people enemy, foreigner, illegal, criminal, domestic terrorist, and you can do anything to them or allow anything to be done to them. That only works if the rest of the population stays silent. After that moment at the memorial, Angela and I got in her car and we followed the bus of faith leaders to the next stop, which was the site where Renee Good was killed. And already, within 14 days, it had been transformed. Piles of flowers and stuffed animals and letters to her. And it was so reverent that I thought, let the faith leaders get back on the bus and return to the church. I'll stay here with Angela for a few more moments, breathing, crying. I didn't know until later. Remember, I thought this was the safe option that morning. I didn't know that ICE had been trailing us that whole morning. An ICE vehicle was behind that bus, right where Angela and I were driving, and were only noticed after they left Renee Good's memorial to the church. And when a neighbor came up behind the ICE vehicle and realized that they were tailing the faith leaders, ICE then noticed the neighbor, blocked their car in, smashed their windows. There was glass in her eyes, in her cheek, in her mouth. No orders to disperse, just sheer brutality. I don't know what might have happened to that woman, except this happened, right? Within moments of that shattered glass, the neighbors on the street all came out to watch with their cameras out. And ICE left her. She went back to the church where she and her partner were treated by our community members. That's the pervasiveness of the brutality. But that leads me to my second point, that in response to the brutality every single time are people who are showing up with love and care and courage. And this is what it looks like. Minnesota has created a network of care that is like an underground civil society. They are teaching children in hybrid underground classrooms because schools are not safe. They are delivering groceries and supplies to families and hiding because stores are not safe. There are walking dogs for families on the street because streets are not safe. They are providing midwifery to mamas and babies because hospitals are not safe. There was one woman who was late to our convening because she was delivering breast milk to a 3-month-old whose mother was just abducted by ICE. Everywhere, everyday Minnesotans finding ways to care for each other. And tens of thousands of people in Minnesota have been trained to become observers. All those folks who came out when the woman's glass was shattered in that car had been trained as observers. Witnessing brutality is essential. Minnesota is showing us that. Witnessing is a shield. It says you do not get to do this in the dark. The presence of observers means ICE is less likely to commit heinous acts of violence, and when they do, there is some evidence, at least some evidence, to hold them accountable. And so all of these observers got trained as witnesses. But it wasn't just the activists or folks who were part of advocacy organizations. No, the organizing block is the neighborhood itself. Every neighborhood has its own signal chat, and those neighborhoods are part of larger clusters. Those signal chats started as like, hey, can I borrow a cup of sugar? Hey, I have a chair that I want to give away. But now those signal chats are places where people are reporting ICE sightings. And because they've been trained, short whistles means that ICE has been sighted. Long whistles means an operation is underway and we need people in the street. Well, what's so powerful about this level of organizing was that it is smart, it is coordinated, it is disciplined, it is sustained, and it is innovative. They soon discovered that they had so many people on a single signal chat that they were getting to these abductions 5 minutes later when the abduction had already happened. And so they innovated. Now they created a signal dispatch system where there are people in their homes looking at maps, seeing where ICE has been spotted, someone is free, calls in, where do I go? Now, because of a signal dispatch system these neighborhoods created, there are, within 2 minutes of an ICE vehicle in the street, there are 30 people out there in the cold with their cameras on watching. This is so organized that there are different forms of patrol. ICE, when they abduct people, they take people to the Whipple building, which is ICE headquarters. And because they have no grounds to keep many of them, there are ICE convoys who leave the building. And what they do is they just leave people out in the snow or in the woods without proper clothing, without a cell phone. And so now there's a Whipple group that follows people, everyday neighbors, following the convoys out, catching people when they're left on the street or in the forest, offering them a coat, cup of coffee, a cell phone, offering them a ride home. People often ask me, and maybe you're hearing the question in the air, why nonviolence? Is nonviolence working? Minnesota is showing us what nonviolent non-cooperation looks like. And this is why it's so important. Violence is the language of this administration. Violence is the language of ICE. Violence is the language of authoritarianism. If we speak their chosen language, we keep giving them what they want. My friend Eric Ward teaches me nonviolence is how we keep people alive. Nonviolence is how we do not become what we're fighting against. Nonviolence is powerful when treated as a craft. Minnesota is showing it to be a craft. And you know what? It looks like everyone. People who are queer and straight, white folks, people of color, people of all faiths and backgrounds. Very few people I met actually call themselves activists. They were everyday people. They may disagree on points of policy, but what they agree on is that their neighbors should not be dragged out of their homes and disappeared into detention centers. These are soccer moms who look out for kids normally are now realizing they have to watch out for the federal government. What I saw in Minnesota was an emergence of a collective we, larger, more diverse, more powerful than I have ever seen in my entire life of being in these movements. The we in Minnesota is we are decent people who look after our neighbors. We push our neighbors out of snowbanks. These are everyday people putting love of neighbor into action. And we know that that love now comes with great risk. Alex Preddy was killed a few miles away from where I was on the last day I was there. A nurse who worked in the ICU at the Veterans Affairs Hospital. Renee Good, a mama, a poet who had just dropped off her 6-year-old. These are just neighbors standing up, murdered for doing what tens of thousands of Minnesotans have agreed to do, which was to love their neighbors. And so that brings me to the third point. What do we do now? How do we help? Beloveds, this is a historic moment in our country like no other. I want us to be able to look back at Minnesota and believe that it was a turning point, that the nonviolent, non-cooperation, that the resistance movement that everyday Minnesotans have been leaving will rein in this administration. And it could get darker. It could get worse. They could decide to get more emboldened. And so that brings me to the message that Minnesotans were giving me every day I was there. If what is happening here could happen to your community, then you have to prepare now. You have to be building networks of community now. What we are doing is absolutely replicable. And it begins with the neighborhood block. Simply putting all your neighbors on one chat and getting trained in nonviolent cooperation, asking yourself, what is my role in this movement? What is my role in this moment in history? I want to say that this is a call to all of us. When I came home to Los Angeles, I received word that a little boy on my son's Little League team, a father, was just abducted at an immigration hearing. These raids are happening, these disappearances are happening all around us, even when our particular city is not in the news. And so this question of what it means to be braver with our love than ever before, this is the question that we all get to hold together. I invite you to take a deep breath. Let it come. Let it go. Thank you for letting me share my witness with you. I want to introduce you now to someone whose love has made me brave. He is someone I met when the Revolutionary Love Bus came to Minneapolis a year or so ago. He hosted me at his church, at Plymouth Congregational Church in Minneapolis, where he is the lead minister. He is a prophetic voice, a beloved pastor. His name is Reverend Dr. Dewayne Davis, and I'm so glad we get to be in conversation with him now.
Hello, Valarie. Thank you so much. Thank you for your beautiful words. You've just blessed me this whole time. So thank you for inviting me.
Reverend Davis, this is all that I've learned from you. Part of me was like, should the whole thing be a conversation? Because this is all what you all taught me about what was
Yeah.
happening there. So thank you for letting me mirror back to you what you all taught
Oh,
me.
thank you. Wonderful witness. Wonderful witness. You did beautifully.
Well, I want to know, I mean, your words that I heard, both on that first stop when we were first together in that church, but also this last week when we were standing side by side, listening to your words of strength and fortitude. Your words still reverberate inside of me. And so what do you want the world to know? What do you want this community to know about what is happening in Minnesota?
Well, thank you so much, Valarie. One of the things this has been such a learning thing for me. I was reflecting on what we were going through, and I was thinking about all of the resistance movements in history. I was thinking about India's independence movement. I was thinking about solidarity in Poland, and of course, the one that's very close to my heart and my family's heart is the U.S. Civil Rights Movement. And I was thinking about all of the things that they did, sit-ins, boycotts, sit-in marches, and things like that. And when they were doing this, those in power always asked, when will you be satisfied?
Mm.
And then it occurred to me that no one in power, no one, the president, nobody in this government was asking us that question. There was no curiosity about what we want. And then I began to think, well, how do they see us? What do they know about us? And then I thought about what we've been through and what we tried to create here. And it occurred to me too, a friend of mine said that, well, you are the epitome of a sanctuary state. You created protections for women for reproductive health. You are a transgender haven or sanctuary. You did it for immigrants. You said that you were in a sanctuary state for immigrants. And that's when I realized we represent everything that this administration has been fighting and criticizing and condemning. And then it fits in with this idea that they have no curiosity about what we've created. It's only about dominating and controlling and destroying what we've created. And so then I started to just understand something because it didn't seem, as I looked around at my colleagues in our churches, and no one, it was so much resilience, but so much resolve. And then I said, you know what? It is because we've been tried by fire. We've
Yes.
been through so much. When I moved here, we were just starting to, we were just getting into the benefit of so much conversation with people across the state about what marriage equality looks like. And all of these faith people fan out across the state to talk to their neighbors about how to make the state more inclusive. And then I remember many of us, we just had caravans of clergy and people of faith going to the Dakotas to stand with the indigenous led water protectors movement. I mean, we were just doing, and then of course, we had the killings, the extrajudicial police killings of Jamar Clark, Philando Castile, Dante Wright, and George Floyd. And we had to figure out how to be community. So they made a mistake. They picked the wrong state because we've been tried by fire. We've gone through this. In the last ever since George Floyd was murdered, this community has been trying to figure out how to address historic harms, but also how to be a community together. Um, when Israel was attacked in October 7th, I was a part of these interfaith conversations with rabbis and imams who said, no matter what happened, we're going to try to keep the lines of communication open so that we can keep our interfaith dialogue going. We've been tried by fire. And so they made a mistake when they chose us. They did not see the resilience. They did not see the resolute determination to be changed for the worse, given what you've done. So what you see what you see in all of what we're doing, we didn't do that because we feel ourselves to be heroes or saviors. What we were trying to do is to lean into what we all knew, what the enduring wisdom of our different faith and traditions tell us. And that is that we are made of divine stuff. We are made in the image of God. We are made in the image of love. That's what we've been designed to be. And so I think no matter what your tradition or even no religious faith, but what we are leading into is what I often call a theology of radical involvement, a theology of comprehensive, cooperative and transformative involvement. We see someone who need help and we're there. And you know how I know that? Because throughout all of that trial by fire, when it wasn't sexy, when no one was paying attention to us, we were doing things like standing up mutual aid. The March table, that was one things that became a very consistent through line of everything we did was this idea of being there for people who might find themselves in need, not always waiting on those formal channels, but that we had this mutual aid support for people who might just come knocking. And so when this happened, by the way, a lot of people don't know, we got a window into what was going to happen. Last June 3rd was the first time that ICE came into a neighborhood, a largely Hispanic neighborhood in South Minneapolis. I was at work and I got a phone call from someone and said that there are armored tanks rolling down the street. And I arrived to the site of those two armored tanks and at least 70 uh, uh, agents with masks and long guns. And then they didn't even bother to hide the ICE moniker. And they were there saying that they were serving a warrant for a crime. And yet, it took all of this for one person that they said they were looking for. It was a test. And at that moment, people all over, especially our immigrant communities in their wonderful neighborhoods, we began to start to organize and to start thinking because we knew that we had been targeted and that they were coming. And so I just want to leave everyone. One of the things that I really felt so powerful about what we're doing ever since the murder of Jamar Clark, I think in 2015, uh, we've been gathering and we've been offering support. Especially the faith community, we want to be a presence for so many communities. But at every one of those things, we used to sing, "We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes."
Yes.
And that has been a part of what I think we're starting to live that out. And Valerie, I want people to understand something. I don't know, we didn't know how far this would go, and we didn't know what we would have to do. But the reason I say we were tried by fire is because one thing that I've been so proud to see that even through the fear, people have been resolute in their decision that they're going to stand for each other and stand with each other.
Mm.
No one has shrank from that, and that's why when you see someone like Renee Good and Alex Preddy, another thing that they want to tell us that this is the first time where actually what you're seeing is not protest. These are not protesters.
That's right.
These are people who are coming out of their homes to bear witness, to record and document what's going on because we know that so many of our neighbors are being disappeared. And I was close with this because it's something so dear to my heart. I was when I was sort of in prayer about what we were going through. I was going through some old notes and clips of articles and highlights of books that I've been reading about the civil rights movement, and it just struck me. The late great John Lewis was asked, "How did they do what they did?" Especially him being targeted on Bloody Sunday in Selma in 1965, and they a reporter asked him, "How did you do that? What trying to figure out was there some magical thing that he did?" And he said something so very powerful that I think is relevant to what we're going through here. He said, "We didn't have a choice to stand up. We didn't have a choice." He said, "We were tracked down by history
Mm.
and we couldn't turn back."
Mm.
And so all of the things that we've gone through over these many years uh, was in some ways preparing us for this trial.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been tracked down by history and we can't turn back.
Mm.
We have to go forward. And I am so grateful to all of the wonderful people in Minneapolis and Minnesota who are doing just that.
Oh, brother, I'm hearing the necessity and power of relationships.
Yes.
Deep solidarity is built rooted in love. I
Yeah.
show up for you because you are my brother, you are my sister, you are my kin, and how you were forging those relationships in all these previous crises so that they could be so strong and activated now.
Yes. Yes.
I'm also hearing about how the community and relationships themselves being in motion is actually part of the alchemy
Yeah.
to alchemize that grief and rage into action.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so I want to know about I want to, I want to know about your heart and your mind and your body and
Mhm.
how do you do that alchemy in the dark moment? So many people told me they were tired in Minnesota. They're like, we're so happy you're here. We're so tired. And I'm like, oh, anything we can do, but then we have to leave, right? Like when you're tired, when it feels hopeless, when there's fatigue, when there's another murder, like what is your recipe?
Yeah. It's so funny you said the recipe is it's checking in with colleagues or have colleagues check in with you. On the morning that Alex Preddy was killed, this was one time where I said, I don't want to go to the site. I was going to, but I also thank you when you were sort of preparing us and you gave us permission to think about the rage. I was enraged and I knew it. And the only place that I knew to go, it was someone said, some of us are at Spring House Ministry Center. And so I said, I will go there instead of going to the site where Alex was killed. Um, and when I got there, my colleagues were there, and a few of them were, and I felt safe enough to say that I am enraged.
Yes.
And as soon as they held that, uh, I could see it sort of moving away. And then we got to work because we had to put out gas masks and we had to collect. We were creating some first aid baggies. So then I could get into the work, and then there were young people coming in saying that we heard that this was a place that we could come. And so we were giving them food and we were giving, if they asked them if they needed a mask or if they needed. So then I love that you use the word alchemy because in that moment I went from feeling that rage, but having a safety to articulate it, and then immediately got to working and engaging and embracing people who were out there on the streets who had gotten gassed or who wanted water or who wanted something. So we were just sort of doing what we had always been doing, and it was sort of creating that energy. As you say, that love, it was love in action, and that actually, that countered the rage.
Yes. We know what's happening in Minnesota and all across the country. This administration is acting out of an authoritarian playbook.
Yeah.
And we're learning from researchers now who've studied how countries across the world have ended authoritarian regimes. And the data is that you have a 7.1% chance of ending an authoritarian regime without a civil resistance movement.
Yeah.
7.
Yeah.
We have, if we're countries that built a non-violent civil resistance movement with a broad coalition, like you all are modeling there, have a 51.7% chance of succeeding.
Wow.
And that number goes up to 83% if you add labor.
Yes.
And so the blueprint that we're inviting folks into is not just like, this is what you do in your neighborhood. Scale that up across the country. Yeah. And this is how we turn the tide.
Yes.
This is how we meet this moment in history. This is how we shape the future.
Yes.
And so when I think about that broad we, what I saw in Minneapolis was the broadest we that I've ever seen. And that's mostly because of all the white folks.
Yes. It's a white state.
I mean, that's why I was like, wow, this is astonishing. I saw some of this after George Floyd, but to see so many. And I came to know of a Somali imam, and we were asking this imam, like, how is the community protecting each other? And his response was, the white people are the ones protecting us.
Yes,
because they understand that is their job now.
Right, yeah.
And it made me think of this sculpture that my son made in 5th grade. He was asked to make a sculpture that represented safety.
Okay.
And this is on my desk. This is what he made.
Oh, wow.
Do you see this
I see. Yeah.
And in the beginning, I was like, oh no, does my son think there have to be white saviors? And I realized, no. Sacrifice is not savior. Sacrifice is to be a good neighbor.
Yes.
This is us understanding role literacy. And to
Right,
see
right.
so many people with privilege protecting those who don't have that privilege right now. That's the blueprint too that you are
Yes,
giving us from Minnesota.
yes, yes, yes.
It is so powerful. It is so beautiful. And I want you to stay with us because
Okay, yes.
I want to introduce you, if you haven't already met them, to two women who put this model into action
Okay.
while we were there.
Ah, yes.
So, um, Corey Lockhart and Anise Chenault, I want to invite you to join us. Hi, beloveds. A quick introduction. Anise, social worker, community organizer, Corey, teacher, facilitator, artist, writer, speaker, peacemaker. I know these two women because they were on the Revolutionary Love Tour at multiple stops. Anissa, you might have to show everyone your Revolutionary Love tattoo. You see it there, the heart and the fist? So these two beloveds I reunited with in Minneapolis. We didn't know we were going to see each other there. And so we were there throughout the week with Reverend Davis, with so many others. And you remember all that story that I told you about going from Renee Good's memorial back to the church and the ICE vehicle who smashed the window of the neighbor who followed? Well, that couple in that car was rushed back to the church. And these two women are the ones who treated them. And so, Corey and Anise, I invite you to pick up the story from that moment. Tell me what you saw, what you felt. You were the ones putting love into action in that moment. You were the ones doing this. And so please share that story with our community.
I'll begin, and Anissa, you can pick up. So we were on the bus. We didn't know, as you didn't know, that ICE was following us. I had a vague awareness that there was security with us, but it was a vague awareness. We were not told that. And when we got off the bus, there was someone saying, does anyone have medical training? Does anyone have medical training? And we didn't know why. We just knew that somebody had been assaulted. And Anisi, I'm going to let you pick it up from there.
Yeah, so I had been an organizer for a long time, but had just recently gotten trained as a street medic. With some of the organizers here in town had put on a training. It was during the furlough. I'm a federal employee. I was able to go. I had the time. So I had gotten trained as a street medic, and I had brought my medic bag with me. And I want to say I didn't know what I was walking into. I didn't know if I could really help, but no one else was answering the call, and I said, I guess it's me, right? Which incidentally was the same feeling I had when we got the call for faith leaders to go to Minnesota. I'd recently been trained as a movement chaplain, and I said, I guess it's me. And thankfully, this is the other piece is Corey and I have been friends for 10 years. Corey is my child's godmother, and we've been to Palestine together. We've done many, many actions together. And when I said, I guess it's me, Corey said, oh, I was thinking it's me. And now that it's you, it's us together.
Oh.
And when we got home, I said to Corey, let's never do this by ourselves. And what was so beautiful about the moment was I was able to tend to the person who had been assaulted physically, medically, cleaning their face and Corey is a Reiki master and was able to tend to them energetically and hold space. And what was really beautiful is that another comrade of ours who had been an organizer with us here in Louisville during the Breonna Taylor uprisings was also there in Minnesota. She now lives in Indianapolis, but we had reunited and had just had a really powerful moment together at the George Floyd Memorial, remembering what it was like the year we were out in the streets with Breonna Taylor. And she saw what was happening and she said, what do you need? To me and Corey. And so as I was doing the medical work and Corey was doing the energy work, our friend Dawn was getting us some food that was being served upstairs by the church that we were in and all the volunteers because she didn't want us to miss the food. And so just layer upon layer upon layer of community just happening. And I
Ripples.
think that's what Minneapolis is showing us. And I think that that's the only way it works, right? And it's all the different levels. I could only be in Minneapolis because my mother was taking care of my child. My mom had spent most of her younger years in the streets doing the things, and now she can't do that anymore. But she said, I can take care of Justice, my kid. Um,
And I
because Justice's dad was seeing a friend in hospice, and so he was away and couldn't be there. So all these pieces had to come together. Corey and I both put out a call to the community. The community raised money for us and to send to Minnesota and help. People I didn't know gave me a coat and a balaclava, and I think so it's layer upon layer upon layer of each person saying, this is what I can do
And
right now.
I think really that is what is so beautiful about these broad-based nonviolent movements is there is a role for everyone. There is a role for everyone, whether it's taking care of the children or making the food or being out on the streets or tending to the emotional needs or the physical needs. There is a role for everyone. And that is what's so beautiful about it. And certainly that's what we saw in Minnesota. That's what we experienced were those ripples of care, those layers of care that are being modeled just so gorgeously in the midst of so much awfulness.
I
Thank you.
guess, yeah. No, Reverend Davis.
No, I just want to say thank you. And I love what you said there, Corey. I think that's also what's so powerful because there is no people are allowed or invited to fit in where to get in where they fit in. That's one of the March people said that that weekend we were there together, said get in where you fit in. And so not only are there so many trainings that people can do, but even just that morning, just putting together a first aid baggie that we were going to hand out, all of those things, those small things, things that are not even seen, it all fits to make sure that we all can play the role that we can play. And I just want to leave you with this. You during all of this, you as a minister, you still have to do the other parts of the job, which is pastoral care. There is a beautiful elderly couple that lives in a retirement village outside of the city, and I was finally able to go and visit with them this morning, and just to get the affirmation from them about what is happening and their pride. It's like my grandparents are telling me that they're so proud of Minnesota and what we're doing. And so even that elderly couple was reaching out to say, I went there to care for them, and they turned around, they were caring for me.
So
But
true,
they,
so
they were
true.
paying attention. And I just thought it was so powerful how, even in that connection, that here I thought I was going there to do it, and they were ministering and caring for me. And I was trying to get them to tell me about what they needed and how to do, but they wanted to tell me how much they loved me and how much they are so proud of us. So,
I guess it's me. Oh, I guess it's us, is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing all of us have been in relationship before.
yes.
All of us were part and drawn to revolutionary love, to love as the call
Yeah.
before. And because we were primed in our hearts and attuned to each other, we could show up almost effortlessly to meet this moment. And
Yeah.
so, who are your beloveds? And where is your heart? And then that will lead you to the next and next and next.
Yeah.
And then, what is the song you're carrying inside of you? Corey, what is the song you're carrying in your heart these days?
It's a song that we learned in Minnesota, and y'all can sing it with me if you want. See if I get the note right. Anyway, I'll just start. No one is getting left behind this time. No one is getting left behind. No one is getting left behind this time. We get there together, never get there at all. We get there together, never get there at all. We get there together, never get there at all. This is what I want to become our anthem. Of course, that Ella Baker that you also quoted, Dewayne, that's a good one too.
You did that beautifully, Corey.
Corey, Anisi, Reverend Davis, we love you. We see you. We are never leaving your side. We make each other brave. Thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
Beloved,
So much.
stay for 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes, because you might be saying, I'm so inspired, I'm nourished, but what do I do next? What do I do? And so we're going to tell you what to do. And my teammate Harini is going to help me with some slides. So we're going to be sending this to you in an email. But this is what we want you to know. The number one thing you can do right now, number one, I know it sounds surprising, get your neighborhood on a Signal chat. Your neighborhood. I haven't even done that in my neighborhood yet. I thought I was so connected, so wise. No, you have to get your neighbors geographically where you are on a Signal chat. As you go door to door and just like, hey, let's get on a chat so we can help each other out when we need, just notice who's especially vulnerable, status, disability, age. Invite folks on that chat to share what their needs might be and what their offerings might be. Make a potluck. It could be that simple. You don't even have to talk about anything that's happening in the world. Just begin to organize your block. And that way that network is there for when you might need it. Number 2, get trained. Nonviolence is a craft. There are 2 places we're sending people to right now who we trust, States at the Core and Freedom Trainers. All this will be in your inbox, but they have virtual trainings all of the time and some in person. So next, Harini. How do you support Minnesota? There are 3 organizations we connected with on the ground. Number 1, March Minnesota. These are the faith leaders like Reverend Davis on the front lines, protecting their communities, organizing collective action. This is where my family will be donating because I want faith leaders to continue to raise the revolutionary love call on the ground in Minnesota and continue to show the world what it looks like. Immigrant Defense Network. Now, this is a network you go to that are specifically protecting, organizing immigrant communities, legal support, educational trainings, information. And Monarca Rapid Response Line. This is one of the entities training everyday Minnesotans with the knowledge and the tools to protect people's rights. So this is how you support Minnesota. Next. If you want to go deeper, everyone on this call was versed in revolutionary love, and it made me feel like, oh, we are playing such an important role in the ecosystem, and I'm so grateful that we get to. It only works if you take our tools and use them. Everything is free. The curricula, the guides, the compass, you can take it into your communities, you can take it into your life, study it, put it into practice, visit our learning hub to get started. Next. Sign up for our newsletter if you don't already have it. We'll be continuing to send out calls to action and ways to get brave together. Things are volatile. Things are happening at a swift pace. We don't know exactly what the future holds, even tomorrow. And this is a newsletter for us to stay updated, to continue to spotlight the people who are embodying the work, and to move together. Next. Donate to Revolutionary Love Project if you want to keep seeing us do this work together. And finally, don't forget, the national shutdown is happening on Friday. We're following the lead of Minnesotans who called for a general strike last Friday, and now we're going to say, let's expand it, let's build it. Now you might say, why boycotts? Economic boycotts are a powerful expression of our collective action. We disengage the system, and corporations, government entities take notice. This is actual pressure that works. No work, no school, no shopping. We know that's not possible for everyone, but think everyone has a role. So even if you're not able to strike 100%, what other ways are you able to support people who do? That's happening Friday, January 30th. Come back together. Beloveds, take one final breath with me. Let it come. Let it go. Thank you so much for gathering tonight. You still got that ancestor at your back? You still got the child of the future before your eyes? Good. Notice what's happening in your body. Notice what's in your heart. Notice what parts of tonight fed you. There was one moment, one lesson, one insight that you want to hold on to. Take that in. Keep that in your heart to resource you, to fortify you. If you feel inspired, share your takeaway in the chat. And we're going to be sent off tonight, as always, in song. I get to introduce you to my beloved friend who is on the ground with me in Minnesota, the newest member of the Revolutionary Love team, also an incredible singer-songwriter, Emma Schaefer.
Thank you so much, Valarie. It's been so beautiful seeing all the messages in the chat. I share this song with you this evening as a reminder of the many ways we all can be showing up right now and what faith and love in action looks like. This is a song that I was inspired to write after Valarie and I met Iman, who I believe is on this call tonight. We met him in November, and this is a little piece of his story that I'm so grateful to share with you all tonight. 2014, Iman left his home for a land far over the sea. And he said goodbye to a family he loved, persecution he had to flee. He was granted asylum, made Ohio his home, and he worked as a chaplain there, helping families at the children's hospital, holding them in love and prayer. He'd say, shine a little light, will you? Shine a little light, will you? Shine a little light into the places we can't see. Shine a little light, will you? Shine a little light, will you? Be brave and pray with me. In summer 25, when Iman arrived at his routine immigration check, the agent spoke, said your asylum's been revoked. To your country you must go back. Arrested, detained, Iman's life now chained to a system that tries to break you. In his cold dark cell, where the sun never fell, with the others he prayed love would break through. He'd say, shine a little light, will you? Shine a little light, will you? Shine a little light into the places we can't see. Shine a little light, will you? Shine a little light, will you? Be brave and pray with me. One Sunday after church, a woman got wind of Iman's story. She said, I remember him in my child's final days. Iman sat with us and prayed, can I help him now like he helped me then? Can I shine a little light? Can I shine a little light? Can I shine a little light into the places we can't see? Can I shine a little light? Can I shine a little light? Who will be brave and pray with me? This woman left a letter on her congressman's door to the Jewish lawmaker, asked him to implore. Iman was there for me in my darkest days. I beg of you, sir, is there any way you could shine a little light? Will you shine a little light? Will you shine a little light into the places we can't see? Shine a little light, will you? Shine a little light, will you? Be brave and pray with me. After 73 long days in detainment on a late September day, Iman walked out back into the sun, for someone had dismissed his case. But that's not where this story ends, for let us not forget there are more Imans who need our voices, our love, our faith. May it reach them now in the darkest place. Will you sing it with me? Will you shine a little light? Will you shine a little light? Will you shine a little light into the places we can't see? Shine a little light. Will you shine a little light? Will you be brave and pray with me? Will you shine a little light? Will you shine a little light? Will you shine a little light into the places we can't see? Shine a little light. Will you shine a little light? Will you be brave and pray with me?
Thank you, Emma. We will shine a little light. Go forth, beloveds. Keep breathing, keep pushing. We stay in the labor with love.